Welcome everyone. I'm going to be playing as the Khmer here in Civ 6, and I'm just taking a look at our start position. I do want to talk about, I got a couple mods on that just add some stuff to the game. You'll notice kind of the big one is starting scout, starting builder. I know some people are going to say that it makes the game easier, and in a sense, yes, but it also helps the AI. I always like it just because I can kind of get into the game a little bit faster. So that's why I like doing that. I also have mods, a bunch of Sucratect, I think is how you pronounce the name. Their mods, adding different natural wonders, as well as his oceans, resources, and then the urban identities mod, which we'll see. You can kind of see, I think, the lines of one of those regions there, and we'll talk about it as they pop up. But just so people know, I'll put a list of which mods I'm using in the description. But taking a look at this, one of the other mods I have does affect how the Khmer play, so we can kind of look at what their features are. So still a faith and food / population based civ. So holy sites receive standard adjacency bonus from rivers, so we're going to base a lot of what we're doing trying to settle around rivers. They also provide +1 population, +1 housing if their adjacency bonus is at least 3 when built. So we'll see what we can do with that. Cities with a +4 adjacency bonus or greater holy site receive +1 faith for every population, so that is very, very good. Temple Mountains domestic trade routes provide +1 food, +1 production, +1 gold, and +1 faith for each palace, wonder, holy site, and bare in the destination city. Plus 15% production towards wonders in cities with at least 10 population, increasing to 30% with 20. So again, population is big piece of what we're doing here. And I'm actually going to skip these two to go down to the bare because that is one of the unique things that is added with the mod. So it's a district unique to the Khmer for city growth, replaces the aqueduct district, and is cheaper to build. So +2 housing, +1 amenity, +1 housing from adjacent farms and wonders. Adjacent farms receive an additional +2 food, +1 faith, and then the natural prevents food loss during drought. So kind of the big thing to notice is if you are not settling on fresh water, it is notably worse, I would say, than your aqueduct. In some instances, if you can build farms around it, it actually ends up evening out pretty well. But again, if you're able to be on a river and surround this with farms, it's phenomenal. You're going to grow incredibly fast. So that's the focus with what we're doing here. We have a solid start for that. It's not an amazing start. It's great with all the farms. And again, I'm going to be kind of learning how to play with this as we go. So kind of stick with me. We'll learn this together. But I don't see any luxuries right now. Obviously, we'll kind of explore out and see if we can see anything. So we have a mountain there. I'm probably going to explore up this direction just because we do have a Plains Hills tile here. For those who aren't familiar, Plains Hills are always the best tile that you can settle on, barring obviously any other resources on there. So because as I settle here, I will get +2 food, +2 faith, or +2 production in my capital, instead of having +1, +2, or +2, +1. So I can see we have olives. That's 3 tiles away, so in theory it's within reach. Although you would like to have that in either that first ring or second ring, so we might have to purchase that at some point early on. Explore this way. And this is exposing our first urban identity area. I guess they call them regions. So as you can read this, basically what it does is there are regions around the map. I think it's 25% is what I set it as, of the map will be covered with these regions. And so they are unique. They have unique modifiers that affect the first city that gets settled in the region. So for this one, lumber mills will be less effective. You get -1 production from that, but unimproved regions in this city will provide +1 faith when you get to mysticism, +1 culture with drama and poetry, and then +1 science with education. And then once you get to conservation, all those are doubled. So this is one of those things that if you have actually even especially tiles that have high appeal and you want to throw down a sanctuary, could actually end up being very, very good. So something to keep in mind. It's not my favorite type of region, but it's unique and something to potentially play around. I think I might use my builder to scout out for a turn or two. So I'm gonna settle here. Yep. Okay, +1 air score. Moving up here again. I just want to see what else we have. So here's another one, hardwood trees. I do like this one. So +1 production per game era. And then lumber mills provide +2 production and then +1 gold if adjacent to the city center or industrial zone. So this is a nice one if there's a lot of trees here, which not looking good so far. But if you get a lot of lumber mills in there, it can be phenomenal. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see. Then starting off, we'll go with a monument because again, we just want to increase the ring and we can get better yields than what we're starting with here. Although, yeah, they're working at 2-2, so that's good. And I think, again, we want to get to our Bari pretty quickly. Looking at what we have around us, we have some floodplains, so it might not be a bad idea to see if we can get Great Bath here. So going with pottery. So we'll see if that's something that we can get, if it makes sense for what we're trying to do. Again, heading up this way, I'll use you to scout one further. There's this hill, yep, so we'll be able to see a little ways. Go up here, so getting some woods down there. We'll just continue to explore around. Might jump a few turns ahead and then catch you back up if we find anything interesting. Alright, so checking back in, we're a few turns further down the road. I did run into a barbarian camp, so I'm sending my warriors up to hopefully take care of that. And this scout is just trying to chase off the barbarian scout so he doesn't come and pillage anything down here. Getting pretty close to the end of pottery. I was thinking of going for mining next. Again, that can help with production. The only thing now is I'm kind of thinking that animal husbandry makes this a much better tile than this would be. So that might be the direction that we go instead once this is done. Other thing you'll see is we did meet China just like a turn or two ago. Their scouts seemingly came from up this direction, so I'm going to assume that they're there. So I am trying to get pretty set up here. If I can get a solid start. I did forget to send them a delegation early, so she already doesn't like me, so that's a little concerning. But we're going to hopefully get a good start here so that we can be ready in case they do decide to attack us, just because the AI has such a head start on these higher difficulties. But it is good to know. I'm hoping that this scout keeps running that way so I can kind of naturally chase him off, hopefully kill him too, and discover where her borders are. But in the meantime, again, we'll just keep getting set up here. Actually, we'll go up this way and just camp him out there. And we will see what we can do, again, once we take care of this encampment. Again, on higher difficulties, we do not want to let barbarians sit there. Ooh, interesting. So we have a scout coming up from down here. But yeah, you do not want to leave barbarians unattended. They can kind of run rampant. They'll just pop out a bunch of guys. They'll come after you and kind of make your life hell a little bit. Interesting. Okay, so we have Vietnam, which again, we don't get a chance to see where their borders are at, but they also came from the north. So north right now seems to be kind of a direction where, I mean, in theory we could potentially forward settle up here. At the same time, we might just then want to secure what we can down here. I do want to get a scout out here now. How long would it be for Great Bath? Okay, good to know. But I would like to get a scout out just because we need to know what's going on down south. Once I can, I will buy a warrior from them. And I can kind of help go find where the Quiet Fox clan's at. But you'll see, okay, so that looks to be, that's China's borders right there. So I do not think I'm going to try to forward settle them that way. There's not much benefit for us here. Just getting sandwiched between them. So we will see. I also want to know what this region is. If this is a type of region that I really, really like, I might go that way. But again, we can kind of secure this river valley down here. So again, I'll give it a few turns. We'll switch over to animal husbandry to get that. I don't see too many spots where horses will pop up that will ruin things. That is one thing to keep in mind. Um, is sometimes you do, honestly, oftentimes you do want to delay discovering your strategic resources if you don't need them, because a lot of times they can pop up and cause some problems. Because honestly, so like this tile here might be iron, or one of these two might be iron or niter, and let's say I wanted to build a district here, suddenly I'm not going to be able to do so. So it's often recommended, if you don't need your strategics or there's not a huge benefit, which for us I think this is going to be a great tile if we can get it. A lot of times they just recommend, you know, just putting that off a little bit, get your districts down, and then you can discover the resource, which you'll get it then if your district's on top of it. So again, I'll jump ahead a little bit and loop you back in when anything happens. Okay, we can see that this forest fire that I saw earlier, it's not the same one because this is back. It is spreading this way. We're gonna see. So these are still burning rainforests, so I still don't know if swamps can light up. So here's another region type. So we got idyllic scenery, +3 amenities in the city, which is phenomenal. That alone, regardless of that other modifier, makes this a great place to settle down the road. Again, it's a little close to China. I don't know if we're ever going to really get to utilize that, but we'll see. But +3 amenities in the city. City parks on a region tile yield +1 food, +1 culture, and allow city parks to be built in this city. And you do not need Liang to build it. So I think you still get the same boost if Liang is in there. So it could end up being, let's see, +1 culture, then +3 if Liang's in the city, so that'd be +4. And then with this, it could end up being +5 if all those work together. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played with that too much, so I don't know. Again, we can look at that if we're going for anything culture-wise down the road. It does look like they're putting out another warrior. Again, these barbarians did spot us, so I have my scout hiding in here for now. If he turns away, we will have to probably expect some warriors coming after us at some point, but hopefully they're not any unique units. Hopefully we're not dealing with eagle warriors down here in this barbarian camp, but again, I'll check back in a bit. I guess Vietnam doesn't like me, so this is one of the things that can happen rarely. Apparently they just want to say they don't like me at all, so I thought for a moment it was a surprise war this early, which would have been kind of crazy, but this is just something I'm gonna have to deal with. So both China and Vietnam currently are not fans. Have been denounced 13 turns in, which is something. So okay, so we got our first civic done. I think, let's see, trade routes might not be a terrible idea. I would have to actually discover their cities. Otherwise, let's do this, because I think there's a chance maybe we run into a second continent pretty quick to get that boost. And eventually, once we get animal husbandry and mining, we will for sure, and honestly, we might even get it. Oh, we'll get it earlier than that. We'll be able to improve 3 tiles and get that other boost. So we'll see if that we can use the boost for both of those. For now, going with discipline, I almost always go with this. If any of you know if and when this would be better, I think especially if you are going to run into continents, world wonders, this can be super helpful. Again, if you're trying to get that era score, I just like this, especially again on higher difficulties, because you're already dealing with kind of a debuff, or I guess the other units are getting a buff when fighting. So I like to keep this, especially, and then we're going to go +1 faith, +1 gold. We do want to get a oh, what am I trying to think of? I'm forgetting what it's called. But when you get 25 faith, and then you can get some sort of boost to your religion, and then we will get the river goddess, so that we get the increased benefits from having our holy sites next to rivers, because that plays in with our civ. Alright, so we met Pedro. So we will get to see where he is. Oh, he is pretty close too. So that does confirm. So here, this is again a good example. So claim river region by Rio de Janeiro, so he's getting the benefit from this. So his city is very fortunate that they are going to be ecstatic early on. But we have Brazil here. This is China, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, this looks like coast, so Vietnam might be here. So we are somewhat surrounded on that north side, which again is not, it's not great, but it's not necessarily an issue as long as we have some room down here that we can settle into. If not, we got to again get set up pretty soon here, which is why I'm popping out another settler pretty early. And we got to probably then go to war with somebody just to kind of give ourselves some breathing room. As of right now, we do not have much. So we will see where things go from here. Okay, so we took this encampment, or at least we pushed them off of it. One thing I always say, okay, so with this, I'm going to rate it. Higher difficulties, you do get less gold. So we'll still get 40, which is really nice. I'm going to fortify first and then rate it, because you will still then get the healing before the new barbarian comes in and pushes you off the tile. So it's still valuable to do. With rating it, I can also, I'm actually going to see what's down here. Galleys. So this is on the coast. Okay, I'm not horribly worried about that. They're just going to pump out a bunch of ships, but I'm not going to probably have a coastal city for a little while. So I think that's fine. I am going to buy a warrior from down here. I have discovered a little bit more, including a tribal village. With this warrior being here and being damaged, interesting, because that might mean there's a city-state or a civ down there. We will find out. I'm just having my scout over here heal. It took some damage, I think, from the river flooding, unfortunately. So we also have Brazil not like me too. So I've met 3 civs. All of them don't like me. I know there is something that determines it. It's not completely random. In moments like this, it feels like it's more just targeted against you. But I know there is something built into the game that they will like you for certain things and dislike you for others. But right now, all 3 dislike me, so we're going to hope that we find a civ soon that doesn't hate my guts. But I am not going to hold out too much hope for that.
Have the opportunity.
Okay, so we got +1 population, which is a very, very good one to get. I think really the only ones that I can think of early on that are better. Some people really like getting the extra scout. I think getting the relic is probably the best one, because I think you get a lot of times like +3, +4 faith, which will get you further along really, really quickly. So I really like having that pop one, though, again, for how our civ works. We're a population-based civ, so we're always going to take that. So we will go up here, get that farm. We also, since we discovered, we have secret societies on. Since we discovered one of the secret societies, we get a first governor. And I'm thinking maybe Pangala is almost always the best one, especially for us with our population size. Eventually the city will be huge, and these will be very, very helpful. A lot of times people do like to go the Magnus route almost solely because, I mean, you get the plot harvest, which for us will be big because we will be harvesting a lot of this rainforest. And a lot of times solely people get it because of provision. So early on, I would say 60-70%, maybe more, of your settlers are going to come out of your capital. So getting him down early, getting that second promotion for him here can be huge for you, because then you don't have to hurt your population at all. And honestly, I'm thinking of going that route and then eventually getting Pingala when we really are getting to be a bigger city. And then we'll move Pingala back into our capital once we get some other cities established. So I think this is the route that I'm going to go. Maybe, correct me if I'm wrong then, if anyone has suggestions on that. I got to move him back across the river there so we're not getting that debuff. But yeah, I think that's probably the right thing to go. And again, I'm hoping to find where this barbarian camp is soon. But they just took damage again, so I'm not sure what's happening down there. Let's see what we got here. Ominous Forest, -1 amenities is not great. But +1 culture, +1 faith from all region tiles is very, very good. Additional +1/+1 from region tiles if it has a holy site, and then again if it has a theater square. So settling here, you get -1 amenity, but I think this is saying all your region tiles give you +3 culture, +3 faith, as long as you have both those districts, which I'm on board with. So maybe this is something we look at doing. I think our second city is going to be somewhere in here, but I think then eventually we'll head this way. I should also do kind of some planning on where some of our districts should be. So I might do that real quick and then bring you guys back in. All right, so based off what I've seen so far, and again, we have limited view of the map, I put down some of the things I was thinking about as far as where I want to put districts and potentially for future cities. So typically, I'm someone that likes to build wider as opposed to taller. I'm one of the ones who usually likes to measure it out. You know, you're 1, 2, 3. This is the outer limit of this city, and then I would do a 1, 2. You know, and I'd like to do either here or even one further so that I know I don't have overlapping cities. I know a lot of times that is not the optimal way to play. But again, when you're playing games like this, I am not someone who's trying to be absolutely the best. I'm trying to play a way that makes me happy. So that's why this city is a little spaced out. The other reason is this is the only Plains Hills tile that I can see for a while. Again, I can't tell what's over here, and this would be off the river a little bit, which is really not an issue as long as we can have some fresh water or connect it with our bares. But I was thinking here, and then this is the other spot because, again, if we go back and look at what we have for our playstyle, we have the holy sites gain adjacency bonus from rivers. So again, we want to play around that as much as possible, and they get +1 population, +1 housing if their adjacency bonus is at least +3. But if we can get it to +4, you get +1 faith for every population. So really what we're looking at is minimum I would like to get +3 holy sites, but we're shooting for those +4s as much as possible. And here we can get a couple of really, really good +4 holy sites. So this one, the unfortunate side is it's 3 tiles away, so I'm gonna have to buy it. I'm not gonna naturally expand there for a really long time. So I'll have to save up some money, which again I can get by raiding. We did find that other encampment, so raiding that will help us. But I would like to get that one, and then if I can get a city here, here's another +4 holy site. So this one's a bit close, but it can work out in our favor eventually if we throw down an entertainment district here, or if we can get industrial sites down here. They're phenomenal, and again, it'll boost each of these cities. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, and again, we'll learn more as we expand further out. So finish animal husbandry. We're gonna move over and get that built up next turn. Other things that have happened. So they popped out this slinger here. And right now I'm debating, because in theory, I can move in, raid this right away, get the money. There is a very good chance I lose my scout. I also don't know where their other unit ran off to. Something to consider. Other thing is, China did settle their next city. It is losing loyalty right now. It looks like mostly to Brazil, which makes sense. I'm curious to see. I mean, it's -8 pressure. That's going to be tough for them to keep. So we will keep an eye on that. Actually, it's -12, because -9, and then happiness level. So there's a good chance China actually loses that city and it flips to Brazil, which will create an interesting scenario there, in which case we're going to want to get on their good side. I also did learn that it was a city-state down here, not a civ, which is very, very good for us. And this being a natural harbor tells me this is probably the end of the continent. So we can probably settle this way without much problem. So we still want to make sure we're kind of holding this line, which we will be able to eventually, expanding out this way. We probably want to expand that way just so we don't get wrapped around if Vietnam is pretty close over here. But just some interesting developments with that. The other thing I'm thinking is if I go here, it might end this unit's turn. I cannot remember. I think I just got to go for it. Okay. They're there. I think the 40 gold goes a long way early on. I know it's kind of a crazy thing to do when I could just get rid of this. I am bringing him down to help with that, though. I could just get another warrior. We are going to start going for astrology here. I could buy another warrior off here to help with this. Again, some of you are probably saying you know exactly what to do in this situation. I am somewhat conflicted. Again, if we're going through this in 14 turns, if I want this to be my holy state, which I just also realized that's on a rainforest, so that's going to make that pretty interesting. So we will have to go for bronze working. Okay. This one I'll be able to do, but I would still need mining anyway to get rid of that quarry. So, okay. I think that might be what we have to do there then. So, we'll go for bronze working. We'll kill 3 barbarians in here at some point. I'm not going to worry about that. I would say then this is my priority. Getting this out, make sure that we can actually take care of these barbarians down here. And again, we'll keep an eye on that. My scout is almost fully healed, and I want to send him this way so I can figure out if this is a coast, but I want to know how far down this goes. Okay, so they are attacking this warrior right now, which is actually a decent thing, because I can hold out. With being on a hill and being in woods, I get a decent defensive boost, and I got a promotion down there. I take out these guys here. I think their slinger might have run off this way. Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure where he got to. Okay. So I was right that this is getting towards the end of the continent. So the only downside now with this is going to kind of block us from putting any city over here, which I really would like to do. So I might have to move him further up. Grassland. So it's just going to be not an amazing city. It's Plains Hills right there, but that's too close. 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm thinking maybe here. Again, this is all pretty compact at that point, but 3, 1. I can throw a city down here. Get this Plains Hills. So let's say we do city there and city here. 1, 2, 3, 1. This is fine. Well, compact cities, which is, again, it's not a bad thing. I know a lot of ways it can actually be very, very helpful, and this is potentially the right way of going about this. But this is going to be better evenly spaced. These guys are almost down here. I know he's not fully healed, but we can start moving. And so, one thing I want to point out again, I learned this actually somewhat recently. A lot of times this looks like it's the better promotion, and in many instances, again, you can go either which way, they're both pretty fine. Because this makes it seem like in all instances, +7 combat strength. But what I learned is that this actually only applies when you are attacking, not when you're defending. This is where this can be pretty helpful, because against ranged units, that's where a lot of times melee units tend to struggle, especially early on in a wet rainfall map. You're really only getting 1 movement turn, or you can only move 1 tile. So when you get to the point that you have archers, they can hit you twice before you even get to them. So a lot of times this ends up being the better option. And I think I am going to go it, even though I don't have any ranged units here, I'm hoping to keep this guy alive for a while. And this can be very helpful down the road. And with the promotion, he gets back up to full health. So let's see if that slinger comes out of the woods here. Oh, looks like he did. And they both attack me. Oh, that worked out perfectly. So I can step on there. Both those units are dead. He got 2 kills. We're going to step in here. A little worried. Stepping him in. I'm going to go that way. Keep exploring down. So that's where their scout is going, which hopefully you just run him into Mogadishu and they'll take care of him. We'll head over this direction. We almost have our settler out. Let's see about... I'm just going to start heading that direction here. Let's go end this turn again. Okay. So I think they do still have a unit on here. I can't quite remember. I'm going to attack with him first. And then hopefully we can finish him off. Oof, it's looking like it'll be close. I'm hoping I don't lose him. That'd be unfortunate. There's a chance. We'll run this way. I was right, they do have that on there. So I wanted to attack with him first and then him. If we had managed to get that kill, then the healthier unit's just closer. I figure that's probably the better way of going about it. Okay, there's another tribal village. I should be able to sneak in there and grab that. For now, I'm going to head this way because, again, I'm most afraid of Vietnam being over here. This plains tiles? That's grassland. Okay. So, let's clear that. Straight. Got a boost to astrology without finding natural wonder. So that's actually really nice. Let's go with... I was saying I want Great Bath. It would be really nice. That extra housing and the amenity. I just don't really have an option. I probably should have bought this if I wanted to go that way. But for now, if we're going mining, I can clear out that. And then I can eventually, I think, harvest stone, if I'm remembering. I'm not seeing it on here as being something I can do, but we will see on that one. So I did go and look at it, and we are paying the price a little bit here, with, again, these being our two best options for holy sites if we're really trying to lean into the playstyle. Because, again, with this one, we would need our bronze working, and I did go and check, so harvesting that stone, it was to improve it, it is mining, but to then remove it is masonry. And the unfortunate thing is, in order to boost masonry, we have to build a quarry. So I might have to do something funky with that. I don't see any other stone on... Oh, actually, yeah, no, I'm stupid. It's right here. So we can build this quarry here, which will boost it, and then I will head over. I can harvest that, so our next two that we would do would be both bronze working and masonry, and then we can come back to astrology and get that. We should be fine on religion. I'm not horribly worried about that. So we just got to make sure that we can get those holy sites down in their best possible spot. So it's still looking like China's going to lose this, which is, I mean, I think it's funny. I would be very upset, but that was a bad choice for them to settle right there anyway. So what can you do? But I think I'm going to go granary quick. Again, keep leaning into trying to build up our population. We will be getting trade routes here soon. And again, I might send it to Brazil, especially if this is flipping to them. Getting on their good side is going to be in my best interest. We still have to be worried about Vietnam. But we'll see what happens there. It is nice that he did not die. It is great. We're going to go tortoise again with him. Taking that should be fine. I shouldn't have any issues there. Gotta get rid of that scout. Oh, interesting. He once again ran off of that. I think I can get this kill. And I get that tribal village. I think I just got experience from it. And I'm gonna use him to scout out this way and then also come back around. I don't think there's anything over here. It looks like the way is clear. To get our second city down. Let's see. To at least 6 pop. I'm not gonna be there just yet. Pretty soon. Down to Pantheon. Let's just stick with that because that one's boosted. And again, I might want some more builders. I'm gonna keep this for now. Advance the turn. So we have another interesting predicament here. They have popped out a quadrireme, and really, I think this kelp forest, which again, something that's added by the Sucratex Oceans mod, would protect me if I go here. The thing right now, though, that I'm considering is I would probably rather just get rid of this encampment, and I do have this promotion. I'm fairly certain if I run on here, because it has no hills, that I might be able to go in there and use this promotion quick, or get on there and clear the encampment. I do not want that spearman to come back, but I might be misremembering the mechanics. So some of y'all are going to judge me for taking a risk because I can't remember exactly how it works. Okay, we're good. I think I'm going to now do this, because I should survive that. The spearman is not close enough to get here, which if I had known that, then I would have just healed. I should be able to survive a shot from that quadrireme, and then I can pillage that next turn as long as it doesn't pop out a unit right now, which I don't think. I think you only flee the reprisal if you pillage it. I don't think it happens if they just spawn a unit in. I think it'll just spawn here, which is fine, because I think at that point they'll either attack my scout, which I was okay with potentially losing it, or they'll just run at Rio and kill themselves, which is a lot of times when you clear out their encampment, they tend to just get enraged and throw themselves at the nearest unit or civ. Okay, so we survived this. Let's just... he's gonna die. It sucks, but again, we just got to get rid of that clan. We did learn about the Sanguine Pact. Very, very good if you were going for domination games, just because, again, you get free units that are pretty strong. They scale directly with whatever units you're producing. So I do tend to like that. The vampire castles can be very broken. Very, very broken if you end up getting really high yields. Because basically, for those who don't know, vampire castles, when you place them down, they receive the yields of every tile surrounding it. So let's say I was to place a castle here, I would get, let's see, so that's 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 13 food on this castle, and then they get whatever's already under there. So I think I would get 14 food, and then I get 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and then this would be 9 production, which would be phenomenal. And no matter where you place the castle, so if I place it here, if I place it in a different city, wherever, all those yields go directly back to your capital. So it is very, very good for building up a very strong capital. You typically want to wait a little bit to get later in the game, because you can get some really crazy yields from them. But that's just something that, again, if you're unfamiliar with it, it can be actually very, very helpful. One other thing, some of you probably noticed I had 2 barres here. Can't build 2, I know that. I'm debating where I want to place them. So right here, this would automatically get these 2 going and boost those. So again, I get +2 on that. So that would be 6 and 5. And then I could just build a farm there, which would help all of those. And I'd get 3 housing. What I'm considering with down here is I could place it here. And then if I chop this, that's not hills, correct? Okay. So I think I can chop this. I don't know what it takes to chop swamp. Again, it's something from the mod. We're learning this together. I have the farm here. I could build these 2 farms. Should be great. And then even here, I could place another barre in this spot here. Where am I at? Right there. And then build, and if we go another farm there, and potentially harvest this, and we could just basically just turn this whole river valley into farms, which would be phenomenal. So all of these would add on food. They'd all feed off of each other from the other improvements that you get from adjacent farms, all that stuff. So I'm debating just turning this river valley into one big stretch of farmland. Would have to put dams in here eventually, just because I don't want to deal with the flooding all the time. But just something to consider. Okay, I think this will be the last few things I do before we end this first video. I did end up losing that scout over there, which we knew was going to happen, which is fine. I did discover where Vietnam is. So they are right over here. I do not know if this is their capital or that second city that they've placed down. But based off of loyalty pressure, again, I'm getting a lot from my own capital, so it should be fine. And that's not crazy high. I don't know if this is their capital then. I see. I think that is the name of their capital. So this might be their capital there. I can get my second city down. This again being Plains Hills. I think that's Grassland Hills. So yeah, I would rather just do this. Keep my cities closer together to really help each other. I will continue to explore around. Oh, they do have a slinger down here, which is interesting. I'm going to heal up. Eventually, we'll go for this encampment. We're still keeping an eye on that. They got 2 turns. That's going. So that's going to go to Brazil. Yeah, because they got 11. I only have 5. So, sucks for China. But, again, then our priority will be building up enough that we can clear out this rainforest, get our holy site down, be able to clear this holy site down there, and then from there we will continue on. So appreciate you all joining for this first episode. Let me know what you think. If you have any comments, I'm going to be recording a couple of these episodes through before I post it, and I know that these are going to be honestly potentially the first videos on my channel, so honestly might not get any viewers on these, which I'm perfectly okay with. But if anyone is checking in, again, I appreciate it. Let me know any thoughts that you have, and thank you again.